Hi everyone, Boston Potter here, just to show you the charger plate that went with the class that we did. So, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to take the polar bear, which I've already got some over here, and we're going to paint just the top side of the plate, of this platter, with polar bear. Now, we're probably going to need 2 coats because we are going to scratch through and we don't want it, we want to try to avoid hitting the bisque. So, you just want to put 3 coats on white. I know it's hard to see the white on the white, so, kind of go in order because you can see it while it's still wet. So you can see the difference in the wet and the dry. Doesn't matter what direction you go in, really, as long as you get the coat on there. Now you can use either the soft fan brush to do this, or you can use the mop brush. Either one will work. I like the mop brush better than the soft fan, but most people have a soft fan. That's why I'm showing you in this. But I am going to do the second, I'll do the second coat with the mop brush, okay? So I'm going to show you this. This is a mop brush, which, has the, the bigger, it's sort of big and roundish. So that makes it a little bit easier. Now watch how easy this goes on. So you want to make sure you load the mop brush. And you're going to put another coat. The difference between the mop brush, a mop brush and the soft fan is this goes on a little more smoother instead of streaky. So that's why I like it better. And the other thing about it is I can, go almost across the whole plate before I have to reload. Now, you want to let this dry between, you want to let this dry as much as you can before you put on the black on top of it, because to put the black on top of it, you're going to be scraping through the black while it's still a little damp. That's why it's called wet etching, and that's what this one's going to be done with, the wet etching technique that I had. Well, if anybody took the my CCSA class, I did wet etching with the ostriches. So this is going to be done the same way, only obviously it's not an ostrich. But, so you want to let this dry as much as you can before you get to the next step. Because once you put the black on and you dig through with the toothpick, you just want to try to, get the black and so that you can see the white, but you don't want to necessarily go all the way to the bisque. So the wetter this is on the white, the more it's going to go through, the easier it's going to go through. If this is dry, and just the black is wet, it will go through the black a little bit, easier without going through all the way through the bisque. So, we'll let that dry. Okay, this is how you're gonna apply the black. Now, I have two coats of white polar bear on the platter. And now I'm gonna do, it's pretty dry, very dry actually. So now I'm going to do the black, and I'm going to use a toothpick, and I'm going to use a toothpick, or I have a toothpick, but I also have this wooden dowel where you can get them at Michael's and cut them up so you have a bunch of them. And then you just put the top part in a pencil sharpener, and you can do the lines with that too, or you can do this. This is the wet etching. So I'm going to show you what I do, and I'm only going to do sections at a time. So I'm using a mop brush, and because I'm only going to put on one coat, but I want to make sure I get it on good because you want to cover the white. Black is easy to cover white, but you don't want a bunch of little spots coming out. So you, although this one, it doesn't matter too much because it's going to be like snow. So I'm going to put this on, and it dries in pretty quick. So you don't want to do it really, really wet, but you want it to be wet enough that, that's why it's called wet etching, so you can have it a little bit on the wet side. It should be like damp, at least wet to the touch. So I'm going to do this much, but I'm not going to do the rest now. That's all I'm going to do. Make sure you get your edge because you want the whole side to be black. So you want to get this whole edge here. Now, okay, so it's starting to dry, and I want to let it dry just a little bit because see how I can touch this spot but not this spot. So I want it to be dry enough that it works out so that it goes through, but it doesn't leave it soaking wet. If it stays wet like this and you were to do it now, you'd have big clumps of the black, and you don't want that. You just want little dried up, looks like shredded stuff. And I'm going to show you how to take that off after also. So let's see. So what we're going to do, I'm just letting that dry. Okay, so now in order to do this, I'm going to show you in this corner here. Okay, it's just about dry. I'm going to try using the toothpick. Now the smaller piece that you use also, the toothpick's going to give you thin lines. The thicker you use it, it's going to give you thicker lines. You just don't want to go in too deep, okay? So I'm going to do about like 3 on this side. So as you can see, I'm going very thin with the lines. Okay, that's down the middle. Now, you got to dig enough in to at least get the line. So you might feel a little bit of bisque. That's okay. Just try not to get too deep into the bisque. Now you can see all the little curly things. See, they're not soaking wet, so that's okay. You don't want them so wet that that you can't get them off. See, I could even pick that up, so it's small enough. I can brush it off if I want, but I'm going to show you a way to do it so that you don't have a bunch of dust. See, this is just right. It's just dry enough. It only dried for a minute or two, so it's dry to the touch, but not really dry. Now I'm gonna put a few little extra lines in here, as you can see. Now I'm gonna put some, because it's supposed to be like that green from a tree, like a pine tree. So I'm gonna put, after I put my first lines, I'm putting a few extra. Now, the only thing you could do with this, now leave all your messy stuff there. Now I'm gonna put another one. You can make them curly or not. Do you see how I can see that I can feel that I'm not touching the bisque, which is a good thing. If you do, don't worry about it too much. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. If you touch the bisque, if you were to scrape right to the bisque all the time, like a lot, you could get some crawling, which means you'd have to touch it up and fire it again. But for the most part, you won't. It should be fine. See, okay, so I got 2 there. I'm going to put another one here. Now you can go right over your other lines. See how I'm going right over? I'm crossing over. I'm overlapping, I should say. Shouldn't say I'm crossing over. That doesn't sound very good. Hopefully not for a long time. Haha. Okay, so you're going to get to this point here. Now I got that's kind of what I want for this piece, okay? So let's see. I'm going to put another one right here, okay? But before I even do that, I'm going to take this And I'm not going to blow it off because I don't want to create dust, but I am going to just get some of it off onto the paper towel, okay? And put that aside, all right? So, but there's still a lot there, but I'm going to show you how to get that off after. If you didn't watch the video from the, if you didn't watch my video on the CCSA class, then you won't know how to do that. But if you did, then you already know the trick to doing that, to getting this off without any dust hanging around. Now these are going to be a little bit smaller. It goes pretty quick. It's actually, doing this, can you see how fast this is done? Like, can you imagine having to paint that on? It would be a lot more work to paint it on, and it wouldn't come out the same. So this is really an easy way to do this. Now I'm going to do this while I'm here also, because I want to finish the whole plate for you on this video. So I'm going to kind of go along a little quick. So I kind of, in the corner of the plate, I'm doing this here. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to put, so I do the middle from the corner out. I go do one in the center, and then I do two off to the side, which makes it easy. You don't need a pattern for this. You're just putting a line, and then you're basically just pulling out from that line just some real quick strokes with the toothpick. If you feel like it's not, you're still seeing black, then it's either too dry, or you're not pressing hard enough. But you shouldn't have to press too hard. You don't want it to be too dry and you have to press hard, because that's when it doesn't look as good. And it's harder to, when you do this dry, if you were to do this dry, it would take you a lot longer to scratch these out. And also, you'd create more dust, because you can see this ain't quite dust form yet. Okay? Now I'm going to take my little paper towel back over here, and I'm going to get some more off. Okay, so now I got quite a bit off. So before I can actually, I'm just going to go to the next step. I'm going to go to the next part here. I'm going to add a little more black. Now I'm going to do the middle. Oops, got to pull it this way. Okay, I want to make sure you're in the video. Okay, so I'm going to do the middle, which I don't think I'm going to put anything in the middle of this one. So you can if you want to, but I'm going to just use this as a background plate, like a charger plate. So I am not going to do anything in the middle. You can take your toothpick and write, or a wider one, and write Happy Holidays or something if you want. But because I'm going to have the other plate on top of it, I'm not going to do that. It's just more or less a background plate. Now make sure you get the edge. Okay, so I am going to do the middle. I don't have to worry about, so that's why I'm doing the middle first. I don't worry about taking the toothpick to it. Okay, so I'm going to do the edge last, because I'm going to try to get the rest of this done, these two corners, and that middle piece. They're the side pieces. Just make sure you don't see any white spots when you're putting it on. This, mop size brush is really good to put it on with. All right, now I'm going to go around. I'm going to make sure I have my whole edge done. I've got it on a Lazy Susan here so that I can just twist it. I think I already made sure I got this side. Now you can do the bottom with also with the black. Now because you have two coats of white on top, you have two coats of white, and then I have a coat of black. So I've got 3 good coats on there. It's pretty heavy. So do I have to clear glaze it? No, I don't. But I will probably clear glaze it if I don't want to do the black. The back side is white. You can do it all black also, but I'm not going to, so I'm just going to dip it and fire it. Okay, so this is drying. I'm going to get my toothpick again. And I'm going to start, this is the driest spot right here. So I'm going to start over here. And I'm going to do like this in the middle. All the corners have 3. 1 in the center, 1 on each side. And then each side is going to have just 2. That's how I'm doing it. But if you want to make more, if you want to make more than what I'm showing you, you're certainly welcome to do that. When you see how easy it is, you're probably going to want to do lots. You see how easy this is? Now I could put some little ones all in between and do it around the whole thing if I wanted to. Be careful you don't, try to go from actually this end, because I just noticed that I rubbed it with the side of my hand. So you want to try not to get your hand in there rubbing it, because once you do, you're going to smear it all over the place, and you don't want to smear it. Okay, now I'm going to do the one in the corner. The one in the corner I'm going to start with. Again, I think I'm going to go this way because it's easier to pull this way. Because then I know my hand's not going to hit it and smudge it. Even with this hand, make sure you're not touching it and smudging it, okay? That's the only thing you really got to be careful of. I mean, that's all there is to this backside plate. It's a little easy on this Lazy Susan thing because I can, you know, I can really twist it and turn it. Now this one I just did here, that I'm doing right now, is pretty big. So I'm going to make the other 2 coming out a little bit smaller. I mean, how quick is this, right? I mean, it's pretty nice that you can make a beautiful platter like this so quickly. It really didn't take much. Remember, you can overlap them. You can do as many, you know, lines, little branches as you like. Now I'm going to go back down to here and do the 2 small ones again. If it's easier, do a few lines up like this, and then go back over it and put a few extra lines in it. You can see all the little curly things and the dust on it. I'm going to give you a close-up of that when I'm done. I'm actually going to knock some more off with this paper towel. So, got a little bit more off. So I can go right into the garbage with that so that I don't, you know, have the dust around me. Okay, now, let's see, I got a couple more to do here. Hopefully everybody who's watching this video took the class of how to do the top plate, which I don't have with me because I took it to Gear to Fire, and doing this from home, I don't have it with me. So I can't show you that one. But you've probably already done it, or you can see it online. I did that one a little bit bigger than I wanted to. I'm kind of going a little quick because, you know, it's a class. I don't want it to be so long that it's boring. I don't want to bore you guys. Okay, now last one in this corner. So going with this. One right coming from the corner. Starting to dry a little, so I like it just a little more damp than this. Because as it starts to dry, it gets a little bit harder to scratch through without pressing hard. And you don't want to press too hard, because if it's too hard, you're going to go through to the bisque, and it's better if you don't have to do that. Ooh, that one just went through the bisque. You can see, it's not, I got to go over it almost, you know, I'm going in there a little bit deeper because it's harder to do now. Now, when you're doing one of these, the pine branches are, as you get to the top, you go a little bit thinner. Do you see as I'm going to the top, like down the bottom, I'm just a little bit wider, and as I go to the top, I want it to kind of look feather, like almost like a feather, where it's a little pointed at the top. But you're just coming out from your middle piece. Now that's it. Now I'm going to take this, do this again. Okay, and I'm going to empty off my paper towel. Now I'm going to get a clean paper towel, which is like this. I'm done with this paint, so I am going to move this out of the way. I'm going to take this and my clean paper towel. I'm going to show you this, where this is how I'm going to get the rest of it off. So if you see this up close, you can see the stuff, all the little fuzzy stuff that's still there. Well, you don't want that on there, because if you dip this, as soon as you dip it, that's going to go into your glaze. You don't want that in your glaze, and you don't want to blow it off or dust it off, because if you take a brush and you start dusting that off, you're going to get it all in your lines, all in your white lines. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to take the paper towel, you're going to wet it, you're going to wring it out. You can use any paper towel for this. So now I'm going to open it up like this. So I have a paper towel, and then I'm going to put it over the piece. Now I'm going to pat it down. I'm not going to swipe it, just patting it down on right on the design. You see what I did there? Now I'm going to pull it up. When I pull it up, you could see it took all off that excess stuff. So there might be a little bit there, but you won't, it's fine. It works fine. Now, I'm going to fold this in half and use another piece of it, because, it's just a waste of, it's only a paper towel, but. So I did that corner. This side is going to do this corner. And now I'm going to get another paper towel. So, again, I'm going to wet it. I'm going to wring it out. And I'm going to open it up, because you don't want it soaking wet. And this is also what you do if you find that your piece does dry. If you find that it dries, okay, so that's wet. I'm going to lay it down. I think I can get this whole section here. If you find that your piece starts dry, wet it down like this, and then do your scraping again. If you find that it's too dry to scrape because a piece of it got dry, that's why I only do sections sometimes. I don't do, if I was to cover this whole plate, and then I was to try to do the etching, I would get maybe halfway done, and then this would be too dry. If that happens, you can wet it down a little bit. I did fine. See, now I didn't swipe anything. You still see nice white lines on everything. Okay, so now I'm going to get my fun writer, or you can use the back of a brush. If you got like a brush with a round tip, you can just put some red, the rock and red in a paper plate, or on a tile or something, and then just dip it in and do your dots. But of course, it is a lot quicker with a fun writer. And I'm going to put a pink tip on, because I don't want yellow, because I want them to be a little bit big. So as you can see, I got this pink tip. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some berries on. You can put as many berries as you want. I'm just going to start dropping some here. As you can see what I'm doing, I'm just dropping berries wherever I want them. You can make them big, you can make them small. If you try to make them too big up on this little slope here, like if I was to put a berry right now, right up here, and I wanted to make it big, I'd have to be careful because the bigger it is, you could see the bigger it is, the more it's going to slide down. You don't want it to slide off, so I wouldn't make them too big. But out here, you can make a few big ones, and that would be okay. So that's it. It's pretty simple. This plate is really pretty simple to do. Now, once it's good and dry, you should be okay even without, you know, don't put a brush over it or anything like that. If you want it to be a little more textured, do the back. Do 3 or 4 coats on the back and don't dip it at all. And that would be also okay. You just need a good 3 or 4 coats on if you don't want to dip it. So you just got to put it on a little bit heavier, which is fine. I think I'm going to put a lot of dots there. If you don't, if you're not going to dip it, just put it right in the kiln. I'm going to just put a big bunch of berries there. If you put it right in the kiln, you can put it right in the kiln like this, and then you won't get anything in your clear glaze. You shouldn't anyway, because it's pretty like cleaned off. So you could put the you can put it right over your lines also, the red. It just looks nice with the plate on top of it. That's why I only had to do it on the edges, because you got a plate in the middle. So that's it. I mean, you can do more berries if you like, but that's basically it. Remember, do not try to, other than the wet paper towel, you always put whenever you do the wet etching, always do the scraping first. Any color that you're going to put on after, like these red dots or anything else, you want to do very last, because you don't want to be able to put the paper towel off over a lot of colors that's wet. So you could, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to take a brush and try to brush the stuff off, because as soon as you do that, it's going to smudge into your white lines. You want to keep your white lines nice, clean, and white. Okay, so that's it. I don't know if you can see it good, but that's it. All right, so hope you enjoyed the class. Hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll catch you later.